Hello everyone, Daisy here again with another layout. This time I'm using the September 15th sketch from Stuck Sketches, um, and it includes 3 photos that are squares. So I picked out 3 photos that were taken last Saturday at my son's gig with his band, which is called Not For Sale. He is 13 and has been in um, it's a local kind of music school that teaches them how to like perform in bands or whatever. And he plays the bass and sings. And so I snapped a few photos of him playing the bass and singing at the same time. Um, so anyway, here I'm just trying to decide on my background paper, and I'm thinking of using this Bow Bunny paper. It's really old. I've had it forever. And I do like it, but I feel like some of the flourishes are a little feminine, and so I'm gonna change my mind. And I'm actually gonna go for this black background here. This is from Basic Gray, maybe Urban Prairie or something about a prairie. So I decided I wanted to mat the whole layout on something, and I'm going to use this, um, what is it, black and white chevron from Pebbles Jen Hadfield homemade collection. And I disappeared somewhere. Sorry, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Um, so here I'm just going to trim down this paper a little bit. This video does end up cutting off early at the end, and I apologize for that. Somebody had called me, and I guess I had my ringer off, so I didn't even know that they called me, but it stopped the video recording. So I'm just cutting apart some of these sheets here. This is a My Mind's Eye cut and paste cut apart sheet, and I was thinking that I wanted to add some bright like teal colors and some pinks to kind of match the lights in the background, but I kind of keep it pretty black and white. I just really like the way that looks. So I'm just using this Hero Arts mini ink pad and charcoal to kind of ink around the edges of the paper. And now I'm going to glue this down on this background, and then I'm going to pull up my sewing machine and stitch around it. And I'm sorry I did leave the whole thing in my video. And I'm going to use a combination of a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch and just kind of vary them around the edge. And I'm just using some black thread. I thought the black on black would be a really cool kind of look. So I'm just stitching around, and then I'm going to pull the threads through to the other side and use some washi tape, and it's actually a Scotch washi tape, not that that really matters, but to hold the ends of the thread down. I find the Scotch washi tape sticks really well, so that's why I tend to grab that one for this type of use. Now it's really hard to see on camera any of the stitching because it is black on black, but you can see it in person really well, so I really like the way it looks. So now I'm just going to work on my layering a little bit here, and I want to layer the 3 on top of each other. I did cut out most of the rest of his band, but there is one person that I can't get out of the photos without cropping in too close. So I'm just going to use that tag up at the top. It's a black and white like text print. I think it's from Maggie Holmes, maybe the Open Book collection. I think that's where it came from. I think it came in a Scraptastic kit. So you just see me pulling out a few other little bits and pieces here. In the sketch there's some banners that go across, and so I was thinking I could use those black and white polka dot papers as, oh excuse me, sorry, as the banners. And I do try it out, but it doesn't work. So then I was thinking, you know, bright, fun colors. I would pull out some Amy Tangerine 6x6 paper pads. And I actually, like I said, I'm enjoying the black on black, so I actually don't end up using anything except for one of these little cut apart label deals. And here are a bunch of die cuts that I got. I just ordered an October afternoon warehouse box, and it came with all of these die cuts. And I remember that they had these little cassette tapes in them, so I decided to pull one of them out. It does unfortunately say spooky mix on both sides of it, but I do figure out a way to cover that up coming up here in a little bit. So I'm just cutting these banners, even though I'm not going to end up using them. That little awesome piece is from some, I can't even, I have no idea which collection, but it's like a chalkboard kind of. I know it was on a piece of paper with a bunch of other kind of chalkboard type things, but so I'm just layering these up here. I'm trying to use that Amy Tangerine paper, and I'm not liking the way those banners look either, so I'm going to take them out. And I like the way this looks, so I decide to try to embellish a little bit here. That little cut apart piece there that I use says, love this. And I'm thinking about using some washi tape. And I pull out a little bit of that We Are Memory Keepers washi there, and I do end up using it, but it doesn't stay where it is. So I'm just using some of the adhesive backed foam tape. And I'm just going to pop up that one photo that's going to be on top of the other two photos. And I'm just going to start adhering stuff down. I really liked where that tag was, so I'm going to put that down. I'm going to put one single layer on the second photo and then 2 layers on the third photo. But I forgot to leave room for it to overlap, so you're going to see me mess around and cut off some of the extra foam. And then I'm just going to keep adhering things down. And I had somehow slid everything over just a little bit when I started putting them down, so I have to make a little bit of adjustments, but it ends up being fine. And I'm just going to ink around all of these pieces using the charcoal distressing, or I'm sorry, the charcoal Hero Arts ink. And then I'm also distressing the edges. And I'm going to decide to do a little bit of stitching on each one of the die cuts. And I cut that out so you don't have to watch me stitch on all of them. But again, I do a combination of a straight and a zigzag stitch. I do end up using the stitching on that cassette tape to cover up the spooky mix, and I just do a zigzag stitch over it and kind of cross it out so you can't read it anymore, and it ends up working out really well. I like it much better. So I just do a little bit of stitching and then I cut the rest out. And I just work on adhering everything down. I even had pulled the tag back up so that I could stitch around the edge of it. And I'm just going to pull all the threads through to the back and use some of that Scotch washi tape. Or no, this is a different washi tape. I'm not sure where this is from. It might be from the Target Dollar Spot, I think. And I'm just going to keep gluing everything down. So as I'm working on pulling the threads through and adhering all this down, I just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of this layout. I know I already explained the photos and everything, but I really enjoy, or have been enjoying, the stuck sketches. I've put a link below to the website. They have 2 sketches a month, one on the 1st, one on the 15th. And I just really enjoyed this one. I did leave out, there's supposed to be a little cluster down at the bottom, and I do decide not to add that because my cluster kind of spreads more than is shown on the sketch, and I just felt like that would have been too much. So I'm just messing around with the placement of all these little embellishments. And again on this layout, so it must be like my new style or my style evolving. I just can't stop. I just keep adding stuff, and before I always felt like I was more of a simple, I mean, I was never like a large amount of white space scrapper or anything, but I did enjoy more simple layouts. But now I don't know, I just like to keep adding stuff. So, and I don't know if it's the added, I guess, challenge I've given myself to try to use up some of my scraps and some of my stash, and especially like cut apart pieces and everything, because I have a ton of them. Maybe that's why I'm adding more, but you know, I don't know. But I really do end up liking the majority of my layouts, so that's, I guess, a good thing. Here I was thinking about adding those little pom-pom ribbon down at the bottom, and that's again something for my stash that I've had for absolutely just forever. But I don't end up doing that. And with some of the die cuts, I'm popping up some random corners and some other bits of the pieces to try to make them a little bit more, stand out a little bit more. But I don't do it on everything. And here I'm just going through my ephemera, or not ephemera, my embellishment little container that I keep almost everything in. My scrap area has recently changed, so I have been working on different ways to kind of condense my stash and yet keep it available, and I found that this little bin that I'm using here is working really well to help me keep my embellishments organized and at hand. I'm just going to pull out this little flag, and I'm sorry it's off camera. It's just a little flag from October afternoon, and it actually came from a Halloween collection. And I put it on this little toothpick, and then I ink around the edges of it, and it just has, it's like gray with black music notes on it. And I end up peeling it off of the stick because I didn't like the way that the toothpick looked. So I end up just pulling it off and layering it up with the little date label. Now here is my video had stopped once because my battery was getting low and I didn't know. But I'm using a star from, there you can see them, the stars from the Scraptastic Plan On It. A couple of different stamp sets, and a Merry Christmas stamp set, and I just stamped them around the page using some Hero Arts Unicorn ink, and that took a lot of guts for me. As you can see over on the side there, there's like some black strips of paper that I practiced a ton on. I hate stamping on my layouts because I feel like I always mess it up. And here I do end up smudging some of them because I put on these Imaginess little gems, and I picked all black ones and then adhered them down, and when I'm putting them on I do end up smearing some of the ink around, but then I try to cover them with more gems, and I kind of went to town with the gems. And here I think I'm just looking for some letter stickers. Oh, and I found these Simple Stories photo stickers, and I'm sticking some of the gray stars around my little star clusters, and you can't see them on the video as well as you can see them in person. You can see them very well in person. And then I'm going to stick some of these white stickers on each of the photos, and then I'm going to work on my title, which gets cut off. I do use some thickers that I think are called shoebox, but I'm not sure. It'll be on my blog if you want to know what kind they are. I also use some Simple Story tile stickers. I did use a higher quality recording. Sorry about my head there. I didn't realize it was so bad. I did use a higher quality recording when I recorded this video. It took up a ton of room, but let me know in the comments if you think it makes a difference. If it doesn't, then I'm just going to go back to the quality I was recording them at. But if it makes a big difference for you guys, I can definitely look into recording them at a higher quality. And that's going to be the end. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.